We're way in advance. Everybody, thank everybody. This is Angora Poets World Cafe, broadcasting out of Paris to the four corners of our planet. We'll be on for two sets. And before we start, I'd like to let you know again, for those of you who are listening from first time or recently, this broadcast will be posted on YouTube, Angora Poets, Facebook, Angora Poets, and yours truly, Mo Seeger's page, and anyone else who wishes to, once we set this up on those other platforms, to put it on your page, because you're all good and you all deserve to be heard and heard by other people. So everybody, thank everybody. And I would like to start this session tonight with a piece that was written long ago by a beat poet named Ed Sanders. You can call him beat, you can call him early New Age, and it's called Poetics. I have deserted my post. I cannot hold it. Regards to preserve the language, lucidity. Let the language fend for itself. It turned over God knows enough carts in the city streets. Its barricades are my nightmares. Preserve the language. There are enough fascists and socialists on both sides so that no one will lose this war. The language shall be my element. I plunge in. I suspect that I cannot drown like a fat brat catfish smug on a hoodlum fish. I move more and more gracefully. Breathe it in. Success written on my mug until the fish police corner me in the coral and I die. Poetics by Ed Sanders. Yeah. Yeah. Do I get some yeah on that? Do I get some feedback on that?
I was snapping.
Okay. I thought I thought that resonates with today so very well. Okay, that was Ed Sanders, and he's dead, and we're not. So we're gonna go on now with our very first poet this evening. So who did I call on? Who said they were going to be the first poet this evening? Mo, our poet tech coordinator, Mohammed Anis. All right, Mo, on to you.
All right. This poem is called White Jesus. Trump is over the White House. Triple K, cue up your song and that star-spangled racist attitude of awesome going on, because it's all about white Jesus today, everybody. Everybody praise white Jesus with me now. White Jesus, white Jesus, white Jesus. White dudes are back. Fake news, attack. Alternative facts trumps all. His earwax skin colors deep in business, kind of like his hands, Cheetos, fiddling around in Lady Liberty's nether regions. The Ku Klux coup for coops. You couldn't spell reason to them even if you tried to stir it up in their ABC soups. Miranda, your rights are louder now. Anything you say might come across as conversation, a serious offense in a courtless law. The pioneers of cancel culture are dressed in blue with a polished 9mm. It started with a cancer culture of shooting bullets and reloading with suspicions later, and the First Amendment is now a topic for Twitter's shredder feed. There's a bucket about to scream at me in evangelical Fox News, and I'm thanking God every day for my headphones. My headphones got Trump noise cancellation technology. In fact, my headphones are university. It teaches Tupac's ghetto gospel and Lupe Fiasco's words I've never said. My headphone is Winston telling O'Brien that he can manipulate human memory and records, but he can never take mine. My headphones a library with George Orwell 1984. My headphones, a library with George Orwell's 1984, moved outside of the fiction section. My headphones packed with so much treble and bass, it blows rhythms out of rooftops. My headphones are God's hands telling me what I need to hear. My headphones is a voice of a black man 1400 years ago telling me to pray. My headphones are the sagely words of Muhammad telling us that his most beloved ones are the youngest till they are old, the sickest of them till they are healthy, and the furthest of them till they are close. What genres do you listen to? Yeah. So...
Some hell of a headphones you're talking about there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. Number 2, please, Mo.
All right. Number two. Right. This one's called Ambivalence. Sorry. This one I read it last time, but I love it, so I'm gonna read it anyway. They gave the boy a gun, as if it were school stationery. Its ghost possessing him already with false notions of a world without repercussions. Even with the safety on, it still killed his imaginary friends. The boy had a gun, 15 rounds at a cartridge, a match made in hell between carnage and his imagination, parenting resting in the cold grip of his firearm in a nation that continues to set precedents for its own ruin. A storm is brewing, hate scenes are blooming, a population brooding over its imminent undoing, and this clown of a tyrant is left to keep it grooming. Trump made it clear there is no such thing as an uninformed democracy, instead a population with an idiocracy that hides behind privilege, twisting the image of every fought-for virtue it can lay its hands on. It'll call slander freedom of speech. It'll attribute racial favoritism to the results of fair capitalism, whatever that means. It'll fight for virtues that are as synthetic as their understanding of them. A teacher hands the boy a textbook, hoping it would ward off the voices from the barrel, hoping that it would baptize him with enough sense for Socrates to speak to his inner daemon, not demon. He looks at the boy in the hope that the gun hasn't killed all the questions in his sleep, that a part of him was still trigger happy at being a boy. A girl hands the boy her heart, 11 ounces of it, and an experiment she calls love, something louder than the gunshot of his father's 12 gauge. They are trigger happy with foolishness. The boy is a boy now. The chamber kicks back. Blood sprays on the book covers down the hallway as Socrates' words drown in the echoes of gunfire. A trail of bodies leaving a nation alive with questions and denial. When the media gossip and the headlines die, when activism becomes sponsored by commercial interests, when the scare causes gun sales to run high and the social justice climate's about to turn desperate, rest assured that everyone's gonna be just fine and we'll be running back to browsing Pinterest, laughing at 9gags while old hags reap the benefits. Merchant of death, alcohol, gun, and cigarettes will be laughing themselves witless as yet another tragedy becomes a marketing campaign they will teach at the academy. America, it isn't so much with your education as it is with a generation that has more or less stopped giving a damn.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Arnold's gun store. Come in Labor Day sale. Free ammo for the kids.
That's the thing?
I wrote that last year.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Mo. Oh, and you're right. People that got guns, it's interesting. Different people, not everybody has a gun for the same reason. It can't be brandished as one type.
Right.
However, when I grew up, in the inner city, there were people who got guns young, and that was their personality. That was it. When I think about how I behave, how I respond, is all about me having a gun. And I remember that. And they sure did scare the shit out of the rest of us.
I bet.
If you could give us three's a charm, Mo.
Three is a charm. Three is a charm. A brown checkered bag sits in the terminal, sad from the way its handle slumped against its bloated sides. It was luggage packed with too many memories, coerced into a knee-bumping dance with its carrier. It got worse on the conveyor belt, worse on the bumpy ride towards the airplane, worse when it was crammed with the rest. Must be nice to be a sentient with lips, it thought. At least when motion sickness hits, they'd have an orifice to relieve themselves with.
Okay, thank you, Mo. Wow. All right. All right. Landing like palm grenades. All right. Thank you, Mo.
All three, yes.
Vicky, speak a little louder, honey.
No, I just said all three landed like grenades. Yes, they did.
All right. All right. So now I'd like to call on someone who I think is almost always prepared to read in advance, and that would be Bunny. Hello, Bunny.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Unmute.
You're gonna have to unmute, Bunny.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Hi. Hi, Bunny.
Hi. Okay, I have here my publication, #Wuhan, which was written really in February when the people in Wuhan didn't even know if it's as contagious, if coronavirus is as contagious as SARS or anything else. They didn't know back then. So this was written and I have it in 2 ebooks. I need to open another one in a little bit. So I read first in German, then in Czech, and then in English, okay?
Well, I would suggest you would read in English first so we have a reference for the German and the Czech.
But I wanted to one time test if you guys would understand a little bit. If you hear it twice in a different language, if you understand something, then...
I wish we were as multilingual as you, darling, but we're not.
Okay,
So,
the English one, then I read the English one in the beginning and in the end. So the English one is, it's a talk with God. Close your eyes and face corona family, coccidiosis, the pest, syphilis, lepra was big too. Sicknesses claimed so many lives. So many had to leave us. So many had to go to a different place. Somewhere to you, close. Oh, please, I jump on my knees. Oh, please don't leave us alone. Oh, please help us, Lord, help us all. Thank you.
well, thank you.
That was the first one. Let me find it now in German. I wanted to find it, right?
Okay.
Hier ist ein Gespräch mit Gott. Schließe deine Augen im Angesicht. Corona-Familie, Coccidiose, die Pest und Syphilis. Lepra war auch groß. Krankheiten erforderten so viele Menschenleben. So viele mussten uns verlassen. So viele mussten von einem anderen Ort gehen. Irgendwo in deine Nähe sein. Herr, bitte, ich springe auf die Knie. Oh bitte, Vater, lass uns nicht allein. Oh bitte, hilf uns fein. Helf uns, Vater. That was the German. Thank you. And now comes the Czech version. Thank you.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but the German, the syntax and grammar demanded did you use more language in the German translation? Would that be right?
A little more words.
Yeah. Okay. And I did understand one word real quickly, real well.
Which one?
Syphilis.
Which one? Which
Syphilis. Syphilis.
Syphilis, right?
Yeah. Okay. So now you're going to do in Czech, are you?
Now in Czech. Rozhovor s Bohem. Zavři tvoje oči a chápej. Korona rodina, koksidioza a syfilis. Lepra byla taky velká. Nemoci stolika život ma zamává. Tolik nás muselo svět opustit. Tolik nás skončilo na místě jiném. Někde blízko tebe, prosím, pane. padám na kolena a prosím, Pane, nenechávej nás samotné. Prosím, pomož nám, Bože, pomož nám všem. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And may I ask you, since you are at least three language lingual, do you find any one of these three languages more appealing or efficient when you begin to write a new piece, like in Wuhan, the collection?
It depends. Well, if I write, it's kind of hard to say. It depends in what kind of mood set I am to determine the language in which I'm writing. I usually try to write in English, but there's also, because I live in Czech Republic, that's why sometimes the Czech words are coming up and my Czech is not really good, but when I write it, it's not good, but spoken, it's perfectly. So I can rhyme, and just the spelling has to be checked later on. So it really depends what the situation is, Mo.
Well, I write in English, and my spelling always needs to be checked later.
Mine too.
I'm going to tell you what. But I'm going to ask you this very seriously. What mood invokes you to write in Czech? Is there a particular mood that calls up the Czech language to you?
It more so depends if I have been chatting with my American friends or if I have been around my Czech friends. It depends who I spent the time with when I start writing. Sometimes It depends what I'm writing about. So the what also determines the language.
Yeah, that is actually my question. Are there particular topics that resonate better in a certain language? Like some people like to write in German when they're writing philosophically, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wondering if any of that resonates with you, a particular mood.
Not really. It really depends who was around me. It's like I have all these languages as active languages inside of me because I speak all three languages all the time. So German the fewest, and in German I haven't written too much. I have written a few songs in German.
Okay.
And usually I write in English, and if something comes up that I've been in a lot with Czech people, then I write something in Czech as well.
Well, all right. Well, thank you for giving us an explanation.
You're welcome.
And thank you. Poets Unplugged, by the way. All right. So now I would like to go from your side of the world over to New York and ask Carrie. Hello, Carrie. How are you?
Hey, guys. Happy to be here, as usual. It's where I have fun and be myself.
And after you, I would like to ask Sandy to follow you.
Okay.
So, okay, Carrie, please.
All right. This is called Chimera of Arezzo.
What does that mean? Arizo, like rice?
Arezzo is a place
Okay.
in Italy.
Oh, okay.
Yes. All right. A chimera. My ex was both a snake and a fire-breathing lion, hiding his two faces well. His dashing Tuscan good looks snared at me at first glance. His pidgin English sounded so sexy in a Sienese accent, and he loved to collect art made in an Etruscan age. But jerks don't stay hidden for long. His anger boiled over constantly when his ragu was assaulted. And whenever the neighboring wine selections tasted like random vinegars. All your cuisine is as good as Amtrak pizza, he would often taunt. All Americans must be stupid. I ignored it at first, but then I counterattacked with my dizzying intellect, which was my Pegasus. He found a shadowy companion, and he screwed her brains out. So we were soon done. I don't date monsters.
A word to the wise. Stay away from them monsters, honey.
Yeah,
right.
not a good.
You're no longer with this man?
No. It was over in a few weeks and done.
But did you get to Italy then, to Tuscany?
I did. It's beautiful.
Okay, see, it was worth something, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
You got it. Okay,
All
number
right.
2, please.
Okay, this is another Italy poem when I was in Florence one time. It's called Afternoon Tonic, or African Streets in Florence. If a tonic could be made from the afternoon, I got lost in Florence's streets, discovering a hamlet, seeing children laughing on roofs, Ethiopian fruit sellers arguing and haggling in brightly colored clothes, and other Africans conversing in French in outdoor cafes. I got lost there, but I found adventure and exuberance for a while. I want a drop of that afternoon to cool me down when hot, to warm me up when cold, to stir up my gumption when boredom sets in. My happy hour frappuccino has coffee and chocolate in it, with some caramel notes, sweetening the afternoon. This tonic helps me now when the kids come in from school. Now I feel awake and alive again, and I dream of Firenze, its cobbled streets, and its African people setting the afternoon on fire.
Oh, that and African people setting the afternoon on fire. That's
Mm-hmm.
lovely.
Yeah.
All right. And of all places, Florence. That ain't bad.
Oh, yeah. That was my favorite town when I was touring Italy in 2007.
It rivals Omaha, I'll tell you. Okay, can you give us Three's a Charm, Carrie?
Yeah. This one is from Remembering You as I Go Walking. If you guys don't know this, this is my chapbook of me walking around New York City. So this is another place in New York. Golden Hour. From Avenue A to Abington Square, I trace my tracks toward the setting sun on one of the loveliest afternoons 1 week before the summer solstice, stopping only for vegan ice cream, handmade by adorable, tattooed, black-eyed, lined angel girls who top up every Sunday with coconut whipped cream and an organic black cherry. That made the trip worth taking. The Lower East Side still rang his punk bell since the early 80s. Young punks still piss and moan loudly on the street under tagged tenement buildings as old-timers and confused tourists escaped into Russ and Daughters and Cats. On Orchard Street, I was feeling nostalgic, but since I misplaced the boutique where I bought my wedding dress 12 years earlier, I had no business remaining there. 4th Street brought me to Cooper Square, NoHo, Lafayette, and NYU as the sky slowly turned golden. I wanted some more daytime in the East Village before darkness claimed its hold on the city. So I walked to Bleecker, a special street. Sometimes I wish it was a man so I could both fuck and romance it. As the sky drew bands of blue, gray, and pink, I rode the M12 home, chasing the last magnificent dregs of this golden hour, of this golden day to evening, crossing over the High Line, lapping by the mighty Hudson, towards home to the middle of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. And I didn't know you were married. You were married.
Yeah, I am married.
You say am. You are married today.
I am married today to the same man for 14 years. Yep.
Wow. So your marriage is running against the dismal odds. Congratulations.
Yep.
Really on that
Thank
one.
you.
You're in a low percentile range of successful long term. That's very nice.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Nice. And does your husband I suppose he's very supportive of you being a poet?
Yes.
It helps.
It helps. It really does. Yeah. He's in the kitchen right now, trying to be invisible.
Well, that's a switch.
Yeah.
Tell him you better get them dishes done. All right, Carrie, that was great. And where can we get your book, please?
I will in the chat. I'll put in my email. So let me know. I have other books in sale too. I also have Hurricanes Never Apologize, which you could also get on Amazon.
Okay. And
But this
yeah,
one is self-published, so you have to, let me know.
cool.
And it's $10 each. $10 for this.
Reasonable.
Very
And
reasonable.
and everyone who has a book for sale, from a publisher or website or independent, feel
Mhm.
free to post that on the chat box here so that we can buy each other's books. That's great.
Right. I am having a website. It's not done yet, but when I do, I'm going to be selling my books.
All right, very good. Okay,
But
thank you, Carrie. We'll see you a little bit
absolutely.
later again.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
so now I would like to welcome somebody who's having their first time with us on Angora Zoom in the World Cafe. And she is, here we go, Sandy Thiem. Did I say that right, Thiem?
Yes, but I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't read because I can't stay the whole time, and so I don't want to be rude. I think I
Uh
should just listen to everybody.
huh.
You're not
Well,
obligated to.
Oh, I hate to be rude.
well,
I
I'll
would
tell you what.
read,
We're
but
gonna,
I would love
we're
to hear
gonna,
everybody,
we're
so.
gonna, some people. Here, I'll explain something to you and other people. In the beginning, we did have some people, particularly New Yorkers, who wanted to come in, read as soon as they got on board, and leave as soon as they were done reading. And I told them in a nice way, save us the trouble. You know, you can be a star on Broadway. Here, we just share and share alike. On the other hand, since you've been honest enough to express what you need to do today, then you're here now, and let's hear you.
Really nice. I can still stay for like about 45 more minutes, so it's not
Oh,
like
well, that's a lot of time, lady. Anyway,
thanks.
let's hear from you. Yes, let's hear from
Right.
you.
I'll start with this is the latest poem that I wrote titled Triple Imaging. You will be positioned on a movable exam table that slides you onto the center of a magnet. You're instructed as you had with an MRI years before. Your nose will nearly touch the ceiling of the cylinder tube where you'll lie, so you know to keep your eyes closed. You were much younger back then, and today's unexplained right shoulder pain brings you back. This time, a pandemic means you must wear a mask to enter the building, but you didn't expect you'd be told to keep it on during the procedure. You strip of everything but panties, paper gown, mask. Try not to breathe, an attendant's politely directs. But before you burrow, she inserts your right arm into a table cuff, straps and bolsters clamp down. Gadolinium needles, a rare silvery white earth metal into shoulder joint, serves as a contrast material, helps to get a closer look at any malady. You're only in for 15 minutes. You'll hear banging, but I'll play music. It will help to pass time. Again, try not to breathe. You are deep in the underpass. Your nostrils, little suction cups, take in your mask. Arm cuff tightens. Hammering begins its intentional pounding. Rapid pulses of electricity cause predictable shifts, result in measurable tissue changes, once transformed into anatomic images, along with undesired vibrations that result in banging. What violent rains wreak havoc in your shoulder? What thunders your pain? Seconds of Kansas's point of no return cuts in between Hammer's pause, its violin a thin wisp, tears well. George Floyd and Elijah McClain stuff into your cylinder. Hammering, music stops. Attendant injects voice into your brain, a sharp, high-pitched tone. It's been 8 minutes. You're doing great, honey. Arm cuff retightens like a knees press. Another 90 seconds of knee on a neck. Another 90 seconds for George. How many seconds did he breathe, mama? How many whimpering seconds till the gentle giant silenced? You're doing great, honey, she chirps again. The injection successful. We've got clear pictures. Clear picture, clear contrast. Contrast this. 2 inches above the neck, Elijah takes a shot. Calm down his ruckus, madness of a 23-year-old masseuse, the suspicious summer night by an iced tea humming down your neighborhood street. Keep your hands from ever touching, relieving pain for another Elijah. Tears run down your face, settle in your ears. How many more minutes, seconds have passed? Your ears itch. Panic begins. Hammering slows. Kansas's Robbie Steinhardt brings violin to forefront with his bridge. 1 more minute, honey. Keep the same position without moving. Stop that heart. Stop Elijah's own violin. There now. You did not require sedation, so no recovery period is necessary. You'll have results by the end of the week. You return to your white cubicle. Remove and discard white paper gown from white body. Put on white street clothes, rings, bracelets, earrings, and all your light white necklaces.
Well, that was mighty white of you. Thank you. Actually, I like that poem very much, and you immediately reminded me of my one time getting an MRI. Wow, I thought of it like 2001 Space Odyssey when Hal gets ejected into the never coming back cosmos. And I had to calm myself through, what was it, 8 minutes or something? I don't know. Yeah. Okay, well, good, thank you. Now, can we hear a second poem, please?
Well, okay, I'm going to be really vulnerable here. I have a second poem, and I'm going to make that my second and third because I'm going to try to read it in German and English.
Oh, please.
I used to, I took German in high school, and I'm trying to reteach myself, and I'm also trying to teach myself Hungarian, but I'm not going to try to read it in Hungarian yet because I'm not anywhere close. Bunny, you are a tough act to follow, and you're going to be hearing me read in a kindergarten.
You were just fine. I loved it.
I can't do this very well, but I'm going to give it a try. So I'll read it in English and then I'll read it in German. Make believe fades red. May found half a chair. Loss flung abstract on leaf bed. In between smoke bush and honeysuckle. Red paint residue. Memory of Adirondacks elsewhere. Poems lace touched. Funny how color, even barely left, just specks, can tap your tender, take you out of state to sunshine of risk, promise, choice made to believe, someone's make-believe. And then I'm going to try to do this now. So.
Okay.
Make-Believer war das Red. May fand einen halben Stuhl, Verlust gesäudert, abstrakt auf Blattbett, Schwitzen, Rachbusch und Gräsblatt, rot, verbrechter. Erinnerung an Adirondacks, Adam Norst, Gedichte, Spritzer, berührt. Lustig wie fehlbar, auch kam links nur Frecken. Können Sie Auftippen Ihres Tenders nehmen Sie aus dem Student. Sonnenschein des Riskos, Versprechen, Entscheidung getroffen und zu glauben. Jemanden glauben machen. Oh, thank you.
You be sprecking and speaking. Hey, bravo for the courage and the work that it takes to do that, to get going. That's
Thank
good.
You very much. Thank you.
Now, we always have someone for three's a charm, okay? Sandy, so give us a third poem.
That German will be my third. Seriously, I feel really bad that I can't stay very long, so let's move on. Thank you.
Well, if you insist, we wanted to hear more, but okay.
I'll come back. Thank
Okay,
you.
well, after hearing what you just read, you are invited to come back.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So now let's just move over here and ask for, how about you, Mervin? Are you there, Mervin? Yes. Unmute Mervin. Unmute.
Okay.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the first piece I'm going to read is from a 9-part poem called Three Winners. It just got picked up by the Cape Cod Poetry Review yesterday. The one I'm going to read is part 4 under the second section called Winters of Adolescence Eve. So there's not a title, it's just Winters Adolescence Eve, part 4. I thought America was ink on paper, not letters combined in shapes to shake emotions, communicate messages, sing stories. I felt like the unplanned ink blotches before a pen dies, staining fingers. Each school away from a city cultivated ink blotches, Black children stretched across paper spaces, our eyes finding each other in horizons of light, our eyes voicing togetherness, not allowing us to unite, stains of white page discussed. Good night.
Yeah.
One second. My son is asking me a question, just real quick.
Sure. That was a deep poem.
All right.
Okay.
So you can imagine the other 8 parts, right?
Catching a hint on this one. Did they publish all 9 parts?
Yeah, they published it as a long poem. So all together.
Okay.
So I'm happy about that.
And we certainly have time to hear more of it.
I'm gonna give you some other stuff.
Your choice, your call.
So all of it, like a lot of the stuff I'm publishing now is from the creative thesis I did. And so it's all part of the collection I hope to be published in the next 2 years or within, it's a process, right? So,
what do you mean by creative thesis? Are you getting your doctorate or something?
So I did it for my MFA, but it's a full collection of poetry. Already the pieces that got picked up by AG&I, African American Review, the Trinity Review out of University of Toronto, all of them come from this one selection. So this makes probably the 13th poem from the collection that's been picked up. So real happy about the way things are going with it. Probably next year, the last of those poems are going to be actually put out. So after that's done, then I'll start trying to push to find a publisher that wants to take on the whole collection.
I would suspect you will find a publisher.
So,
okay, well, let's hear your next poem, please.
Okay, so the next poem I'm going to do, this is also from that same collection. This was published by Z Publishing, Best Emerging Poets out of Kentucky last year, and it's called 9 Nights. So, but it's completely different kind of theme. 9 Nights. I was told that crying showed a lack of faith, selfishness, a show to shadow the truth. 9 evenings in remembrance, celebrating flashes and stories, jokes, songs over strong drink, Red Stripe beer, Appleton's, Ray and Nephew's rum. 9 days of preparation, potato, yam, stubborn goats, stressed, bleating on all fours for our festivities, kicking, fussing before bloodletting, hung on hind legs, used in broth for mannish water at grave digging, party, socializing each night with band and selector, dancing, slapping dominoes, people praying into morning. A fellowship of family slides granddad into his burial house, singing the old parish songs.
Okay. Can I compliment you on something here, Mervyn? You resonate with me like two great American writers who left the States and wrote perhaps their best stuff away from the States. And that was Henry Miller and James Baldwin. And both of them, and including Mo Singer, myself, where when you leave your country, you begin to differentiate what was truly characteristic of one's country and culture and what you might have thought was, but it's just simply goes around everywhere. In other words, you shake the diamonds from the diamond dust, and it happens a lot when one is afar from the homeland. So, no one would suspect reading your poem that you were living abroad.
So I guess that's a question for me, because where is really home? Because I was born in England, family's Jamaican, and I've pretty much moved every 5 years to a different country or place.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, for me, that helps my voice because I'm able to articulate different type of ideals.
All right. And would you articulate three's a charm, Mervyn?
Yeah. Oh, James Baldwin. That's why I was doing that. James Baldwin. I admire him a lot. So, so this piece, and I probably still will not pronounce it right because I've never pronounced it. I try, but this is where I was last weekend. But I wrote this probably based on when I went there more than 15 years ago. And so the poem's titled My Piece in Skaveningen, which, like I said, the throat part is hard to pronounce. This is actually gonna be published in Common Threads this year under the Ohio Poetry Association. So, it was not the warmest beach to visit, Skaveningen, Western Netherlands, cradled against the North Sea. Maybe the rainbow tulip fields of Keukenhof. The ancient wooden windmills between villages brought my melancholy face to a smile on a journey there. A place where I could settle my thoughts, in tune with the sound of the channel's tides. At sunrise, I watched stallions slow trot across the wet sand, horse tracks vanishing before children's voices vibrated from playing, making sandcastles in the sun. I could feel the fragile cracks of my marriage quivering my skin in the cold air. Even scavengers, seagulls, fleeted away, sensing my sadness. The long pier there is a century old, 4 circles and a spiral buildings, a place of refuge, mesmerized me by the North Sea's waves across to the horizon.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was very nice. Thank you. And just between you and I and everybody else on this screen, did that fragile love affair, that marriage, did it continue on? Has it continued on?
No. So being back in Skaveningen with my current wife, I wrote a second part to that poem showing the growth. But the thing is, the place where I went to even that went through its transition and change. So I compared its transition to my transition.
Okay. And I bet your current wife or your second wife is pleased to know you wrote a follow-up piece to that first piece, right? I mean, you know what I mean? If I was somebody's second love, I'd sure love to hear something about me after they talk so tenderly about somebody else.
Right.
Hi, I'm just filler for the while, you know. She got me on the lottery.
Right.
Needed to pay the rent, so I'm here. You know, but that's cool, man. In fact, that's not cool. That's very nice to do. So appreciate you, and stay around for the second round again, Mervin. Thank you. Okay, so now I would like to, hello, Vicky, are you there now? Hello, Vicky.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so, well, let's hear somebody from Florida. We're moving around the continent again, around the terrain again. So, Vicky, welcome. And what would you like to read, please?
Okay, I'll do one of my older ones.
Okay.
From about 2014. It's
Okay.
called America Jacked.
Okay, America Jack.
And, yeah, America Jacked. And it goes like this. It's like being snatched out of your car by gunpoint. It's like being yoked up in the collar by a robber. I call it America Jacked. America jacked, jerked, played, pimped, conned, duped, fooled, and tripped. It's time to get the facts and fight back. Why keep flip-flopping like a flounder? Get a grip. Let go of the old. Get a handle. It's a scandal. Shoot the dice. Take a gamble. Anything is better than this for sure. You can't keep feeding us this manure. Do something. Make a choice. Speak up. Use your voice. We cannot let them get away. Stop the game. I don't want to play. Find a hole and dig your grave unless you decide to be brave. Stop the madness. Get a clue. USA don't care about you. Stop doing what you're told to do. We are the ones who make the rules. Now we're being treated like we are too. It's a mess. Can't you see? Where's your eyes? Have you no ears? There is no time for being scared. Young, old, black, white, yes, your dog is in this fight. Think he's not? Stop and think. Soldiers, civilians are all going down. The ship is sinking, it's swim or drown. The time has come. The time is here. Cowards out. We have no time for fear. Cowards will let the children fight. Open your eyes and get a clue. If you don't, we all are through. Band together. We can hate later. It's just like being on the front line. You don't care who saves your lives. You need a heart, a kidney, or a liver. No one asks what is the color. Let's get through this. Let's pull together. We can decide who we hate later. Right now, our enemy is common. We all need to solve this problem. Do what you can. We cannot wait. The time is now. It's not too late. We've been sold out, been jacked, played and pimped, conned and duped, fooled and tripped. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Reach for your Bible or reach for a gun. Who can bring back your son? They steal our money and tax us too. Then make people think it's charity we're getting. when it's our money that they are outletting, sending soldiers home broke with no place to call home, medical treatment interrupted, waiting on checks while their lives are disrupted. America's being jacked and smacked like a $2 whore. And I don't know about you, but I'm mad as hell. And my head is out the window. And I'm going to yell, I can't take it anymore. In peace.
Wow. New Jack City has become Big Jack Country, huh? Yeah. Okay, Vicky. How about number 2, please? And by the way, I'm going to ask Caroline to follow you. So, Caroline, if you'll follow Vicky. Okay, Vicky, please, number 2.
Okay, this one is more of an urban type poem. I wrote this after the insurgence of the cocaine problem in America. And the name of the piece is called No More Primo. And for anybody that doesn't know what primo is, it's another name for crack cocaine. No more primo. Let's go. Quit looking high and low. Get up off the floor. What are you looking for? A metaphor? It ain't happening no more. The only thing you dropped was hope. It ain't there, just like that piece you thought was dope. Hear me now, watch my style. I'm about to get wild. They call me Wild Child. Don't try and buddy me. You want to study me? We can never agree upon my philosophy. Watch the vapors of my energy. See that big cloud over me? That's my high grade mentality. I ain't no one trick pony like a bunch of you phonies. I eat ital while you shit baloney. I got lyrics all up my sleeve like a cool summer breeze. When I change my wind like an Arctic chill, listen and take notes when I spit my spill. Look, here comes my hook, free flowing. I wrote the book. I don't compete, I teach, never preach. I always reach the open minds who are inclined to feel my rhymes. I'm one of a kind, wisdom divine. There's only one of me. I go by the name of Ola Day G, world renowned, queen to the throne. I hold my own. I don't leave victims. I leave dead bodies. Holla at me, somebody. I'm a veteran with mad skills. I'm gonna show you the drill. Stop, look, and learn as I spit my spiel. Once a man, twice a child. You can't touch me with your infantile style. No way, no how. Heads must roll and knees must bow. I am a murderer on the mic. I am undefeated, most duplicated and repeated. Because when I got you on the ropes, I don't play fair. So if you suppose I should, it's knee to the nose. Knee to the nose. That's my hook. Right hook, left hook, beat 'em up. What the fuck? Sucker punch, drop kick, buck fuck. That's enough. Take that ass whooping and go ahead on. Much love. Moving on. I hope you don't mind. I said, I hope you don't mind. I just showed you my old school veteran behind. In peace.
My, Ola Day D. Ola Day D. Express yourself, woman. Yes, you do. Okay, Vicky. How about 3 is a charm, please?
Okay, 3 is a charm. Let's go with, I got one little small one here. Let's see, is this it? Okay, it's gonna take me a minute to pull this one up unless I read something like that. Here it is. It's called 2 Nations, and it's small. 2 nations under one flag, divisible with justice for some and not for all. Some have none. Few have most all of the whole sum. In peace.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Ola Day D. Thank you very much. And we'll be looking forward to you also in the second round. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Some of that phrase
Hi,
is Benedicta, that must be you, darling. How you doing tonight?
Yes, I'm doing great. I'm currently at work. I wanted to see if I could present something and I go back. I'm at the hospital working, but I just
Okay.
wanted to come online.
Okay, well, given the fact that you have time restraint because you're working, and you are a healthcare worker, so bravo for that. Okay, down there in Accra, well, not Accra, but in Ghana. So bravo for doing that healthcare work, sister. And if Caroline doesn't mind, can we let Benedicta go on while she's under the gun for time? Benedicta, we turn it over to you.
Yeah, hi, Moe. I'm currently not in Accra, I'm in Volta. It's a different region in Ghana.
Right. Okay. Volta.
I hope my sound is better.
It is.
Okay. I want to read from my, okay, hold on. Okay. Sorry, I'm loading it. So, okay. So I read. In the middle of questioned thoughts, a gaze and a stare, with events of civil unrest, the peculiar cry of the heart, fights with unending demands, voices of grief, engraved in words, runes of fierce restraints, shades with penetrating struggles for peace and freedom, a niche of revolutionary turnouts for change. That's the first one.
Well, thank you. That's
I hope it
good.
was audible.
It was. It is. And so now, can you give us a second poem, Benedicta?
Then, yes, the next one is nostalgic. Just as you are, you unravel the pinnacles of outwardness, manipulated by his touch. He unearths the pulses of life in abundance, proven hazes of life with fades of an arcade, yielded in momentum. Nostalgic, he says my name. That's about it.
Okay. Is he in your life today?
For sure.
Oh, good. Good to hear that. Dag, we got people staying together in this crowd tonight. That's really good. You're not all lost souls like myself. All right. Okay. Would you
You
give
never
us?
know, you might get a good turnout soon.
Okay. Well, if I had you as my representative, as my agent, I'm gonna have to come down to I'm gonna have to come down to Volta and show myself. All right.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Would
the
you?
last one will be a monoku.
Okay. A one-liner. Here we go.
Faded clashes of the past.
Okay. Would you read that again, please?
Faded clashes of the past.
Okay. Now, Benedicta, are you needing to go back to work soon? Go back to your.
Yes, and my battery is running low, so when I get home, I can chip in for the second round
Oh,
by
good.
charging it. Yes, so I'll just
Okay.
go back and see to it that everything is fine.
Okay. Well, that'll be real good because we look forward to you participating in the second round, Benedicta.
For sure.
Okay. Good. Okay. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, poet. We'll see you in a bit.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. So now we're going to move northbound up the Atlantic and come into Paris, France with Caroline Adler here. Hello, Caroline.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
Well, I'm good, and I'm glad you're here. So, tell us what would you present for us this evening?
Spanish, a poem in Spanish. It will be Maybe I already, I don't know. I will begin by the French one, and it's about the summer and well, the summer locked in.
The
Still,
lockdown.
yep. Because I'm staying at home. Because I'm fragile and my mom is old. Not so old, but the medicine, the medicine say she is too old to be. So it's dangerous to go out.
Confiné avec sa maman, hein?
Yeah, very complicated in this time. This last week was really tired. I'm really tired.
Okay, so your first poem is in Spanish and it's about the summer, yes?
No, the first one is in French and it's about summer.
Oh, okay.
And the second one will be in Spanish.
Allez, commencez en français, voilà.
L'été. L'été est volatile, parenthèse dans parenthèse, brèves incursions, croisements de chemins, excursions, rencontres furtives, voire fugitives, douces parenthèses enchantées, disparitions, et tout est transformé, en profondeur. Les éclats de regard ont changé. De ma couche ensommeillée, je parcours les mondes disparus de l'enfance à la recherche de celles et ceux que l'été a emportés. L'été, bonde et ombilique de l'année, régénérateur du temps. On croit que c'est l'hiver, mais l'hiver prend son temps. L'hiver, c'est le temps au long cours. Les paroles de sel, précieuses, savoureuses. En été, tout fout le camp dans un éblouissement. Vient l'été indien, son réalisme, encore baigné de songes savoureux et de nostalgie, au quotidien délivrance rappelant le chemin parcouru. Cet été, j'ai grandi de tout ça en dedans de moi. L'étuve caniculaire évacue les toxines, le corps se nettoie, se renouvelle. Pour renaître, il faut mourir un peu. Je mue, telle l'araignée ou le serpent. Cette année, l'avenir est au passé à la télé. Les séries, rendez-vous, suspense sont suspendus par la pandémie. Tous en arrêt. Jusqu'ici, tout va bien. Le temps de compter les morts viendra bien assez tôt.
That's some real deal stuff there. Yeah. Wow. Took the idealism right out of summer and brought it down to realityville. All right. Thank you. Can you, I want to ask Jack Cooper to follow you. Jack Cooper, if you're listening, I would like you to follow Caroline, and she will now do her second poem, please.
Yeah. The second one is about, I think I already read it last time, but I would like to read it again. And it's about vanishing. Yeah, vanishing, like in the Hitchcock film. Desaparición. Ya no está. La casa ha desaparecido. No sé por dónde buscarla. Es como si no fuera jamás, pero tiene que haber sido, si no, yo no estuviera aquí buscándola. ¿Qué ha hecho papá? Papá ha borrado los índices del pasado, la ropa, los hilos para cozar, el bilboquet. Y mi mini bici con 3 ruedas de metal azul y rojo que me había hecho daño un día. Hizo como si yo no fuera de la familia, como si no me concernaba. Estaba en una especie de paraíso con gente que no les conocían. No me di cuenta. No era real, no podía ser, pero al volver, papá había borrado todo. Cuadro, casa, ropa, juegos, fotos. Los muebles estaban en su casa, algunos, pero ya no era la casa, sino otra. Otro día había abandonado mi perro. Otro día quedaban cajas con el contenido del buffet Poco a poco, el presente ha devorado el pasado, pero no puede tocar mis recuerdos. Sé que ha existido, lo sé. Como el pasajero de una mujer desaparece de Hitchcock, lo sé. Pero la diferencia es que mi nonna no está escondida. En punto de volver diciendo, ¡tarán! Me había escondido, jijiji. No, ya no volverá nunca.
Ok. Bravo. Está muy bien, ¿no? En español, sí. Oye, oye, padre, mi casa, su casa. Okay, can you, Jack Cooper, you're on board, please. And can we hear Three's a Charm from you, Caroline?
The other one, I already read it all the time, but it's a love poem in Spanish, and I think it can be nice to read it again. It's a sort of echo of a poem of Otto Chronopio. Yeah, it's not an answer, but a sort of echo. Le diría en el círculo de mis brazos hay un fuego. Es feroz caníbal. Oh, no. Eso no es el mío, sino este. Era el de Otto que había. Pues eso es el mío. Podría hablarte de la noche, de sus miles de estrellas. Podría hablarte de la fuerza del agua que atraviesa las montañas, del hielo, de la lluvia, de mis lágrimas también podría. En el hueco de mis brazos hay palabras dormidas que se estiran despacio y regresan del sueño. Podría hablarte de la fuerza de los árboles, la tierra hormigueante de vida, y de esa pequeña llama que en el hueco de mis brazos, cuando lucen las tinieblas, me deslumbra. Podría decirte de navegar hasta mí. Escondidos en las nubes construyamos pues un nido al bien delicado para hablar con las estrellas. Hace mucho frío allá arriba. Tus poesías nos calentarán. En el hueco de mis brazos llevo una pequeña llama. No sé de dónde viene. Nació conmigo. A menos que sea yo que nació con ella. Podría decirte lo que no sé, lo que no entiendo. Buscaríamos juntos, inventaríamos, exploraríamos con lámpara frontal, palmas, corta uñas, iríamos en búsqueda de dragones, guardianes de los vientos y de los ríos y de los montes solitarios. En el hueco de mis brazos me gustaría bajarme del nidal de estrellas, poder sentir tu piel, pero el miedo cae como una capa de hormigón sobre mis días y me impide decir, sentir mi amor. Háblame, déjame una escalera que me lleve hasta ti.
That's a love poem. Ooh. Well, deep down in Rio Escondido. Ooh, sí, profundo. Okay, thank you very much in your Spanish and your French and explaining to us in your English. Thank you very much. This, people, is why I have been calling this series the World Cafe. Okay. So now we are ready to come on board with Jack Cooper. Are you there, Jack?
I'm here.
Well, we're here too. Come on board, Jack. Show us your face, if you will.
Thank you. I can't really show my face. Well, you can.
Are you having a bad hair day? Yeah, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, never mind.
But we can hear you very clearly.
Oh, good. Yes, my camera, it seems, is no more.
Okay.
So I have to make do with both my face and my camera.
Okay.
All right. So this first piece is called In Midst. And it's part of a larger phrase from Keats, in midst of other woe. The rest of it I don't recall. It's called In Midst. Does my love hesitate for fear to lose? Unopened letters, telephone unsung, left ringing, unrun to, death not my own. Inevitable denaturation, possibly forestalled. Such still mere excuse, deliverance execrates, forcibly abides. Anticipated endings have I long since first notion aggrieved. Answer, assurances supply, never thought of asking, except blank repeats. Woe conceives yet beginning. Hope fashions a seawall, tides seldom reach. Grief forfends, fairly breaks. Word alone relents. Imaginable view, extravagance, the eye purblind represent. Look, dares in spite.
Very, very nice, Jack. Deep sea diving for that romantic lore. Yes. Okay,
Thank
can
you.
we?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Can we hear number 2, please?
Yes.
And can we follow you with Bill Strangmeyer? Okay, Bill, if you'll follow Jack.
Yeah.
And then we'll call on Dane. So we'll just and there's Claire and there's me. We're good. Okay, Bill, Jack, number 2, please.
This is called Don Juan in Hell. Then, through my exquisite jealousy, fickle woman, Hecate, is expressed. Some reticence to touch signals fire in her, a salacious flare. Moist breath engulfs the ear, burns straight down. Hours imagined, infernal thirst, no earthly portion could bear. Contrarieties annealed, I run cold, to meet, to recognize, its lustful, wet surrender mine. Lover, in torturous dream exposed, myself, weak with sensuality, keener, more obscene than even wicked innocence foretells this, God's relish. Man must strive to comprehend. Second hand, repeat, while woman receive paradise, harbor hope of heavenliness achieved, felt whether arrows hit or missed.
Okay, Jack. Now, as we've been, as actually I've been asking each poet who's been reading something on or about someone dear to them, Did the person you wrote this poem to, have they read it, received it, know about it?
No.
Okay, 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 interesting. To write an intimate poem, I always hope myself that, oh, I hope she will read this and be filled with as much yada, yada, yada as I felt when I wrote yada, yada, yada. And then sometimes I've written poems where she has never laid eyes on it. Yeah. Can you give us three's a charm, Mr. Jack?
Yes, I will repeat a line from my first poem in response to that, Mo. Hope fashions a seawall tides seldom reach. Grief forfends, fairly breaks. This is called A Valentine Never Sent. I love you, Sherry. Your face echoes as the moon, my risen voice. You watch over me. Nights on either side, we dream in tandem, too busy by day for our own, until time goes away. Mantra yours, self-discipline. Mine, subjective disorder, unable to get anywhere, do anything on time. And so, what? Love can even redeem then, if we dare not. Stars stand still and stare. For we are such improbably dissevered, neither could reclaim nor grant entirely another. I love you, Sherry. I confess its depth to your eyes. Let us, you and I, free both worlds we have changed, continue to shine when no longer remain. I love you too well to say it. Dead or never.
Well, you may have loved her too well to say it, but you done just said it very well indeed. Okay, Jack, thank you. And stick around for the
Thank you,
second.
everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Did y'all like them poems? Take a break and breathe. Y'all like them poems? Thumbs up if you like them poems. If you don't like them poems, we're going to cut your thumbs off. All right. So now we're going to move over to the judge, who is, I've mentioned before, we call him the judge because we have very little confusion understanding his opinions and points of view, and we benefit all the more for them. So I want to turn this over now to Bill Strangmeyer, the judge.
Thanks, Mo. That may change a little. Caller. Where did it come from and where does it go? The swell, the wave that feels like God is in my soul, bringing such an urgency, gainsaying frailty like a song that stirs the heart and could even move a nation. The tenor strong and I hope for crescendo welling up, washing off the past, washing off into the past, all sins and failures wept. Oh, it is this I wish to capture, wish to hold and wish to share, adding it to love so strong as if a harmony could lift it to a higher ground, a specter but a faith so rich and high it could be known to all who live in need, to all who fear, to children when the doubts and hurt first come like clouds of poisoned rain that kill the sun and hide the moon. So grand and generous this promise I can feel that sings as if a woman's alto, strong and full of longing, striking just like this a warmth into my core. And when that singing's run its course and falls, the ordinary that returns is just the way it is. as if the other'd never come or was just fun or fire. The holiness is lost and I forget. Nostalgia's what is left. But could I keep it, hold it soft? Would that be what we hope? If heaven had a purpose, would heaven sing like this?
Okay, Bill.
Yes, yes.
And number 2, please, Bill. And by the way, I would ask Dane to follow Bill if Dane would prepare. Okay, Bill, please, number 2.
Okay, let's see. Where'd it go? Okay, a quote from the New York Times in 2004. Is a good death still eluding too many Americans? The findings suggest that changing the culture of dying will require a vast amount of work. Call this missing out on a good death. A blinding scandal and a stinking shame, but how can a machine stink when its axles are greased with rendered dreams? What is a chicken with no backbone when the king is a coward and the people hate the weak? We will manufacture the victim as an inside joke, justifying suppression of science and speech while churches and governors kill belief. We worship mammon, we worship death, we worship hate, and we'll find a way out. But no, God willing, the riddle is ripe for acclaim. The romance of the wicked is just that they laugh, in spite of the loss of their glory and fame, in spite of demotion to the order of freaks and the long condemnation to drinking and gout. And if you iron the beetled brow, your death will be good and profit will flow. You were a star and a has-been now, and all of the others feel moral about you, although we'll be happy to see you go good.
That's why we call him the judge. That is tragically correct in my experience. Tragically correct. So, that, I don't know. As soon as they came up long ago with non-participating people as collateral damage, I want, every tragic episode we get a new take on unnecessary deaths. Billy, how about Three's a Charm?
Okay, this one I'm not really sure about, and I'd appreciate opinions on whether it works or not. It's a little bit long, not too long. There's a quote from the Huffington Post. Gravity exists as microscopically thin vibrating strings, largely holding everything up like a marionette. It's called our own little hologram. Jack Dempsey woke up in a sweat, still in the jellyish cell he had dreamt. The manager of his family's factory was in a big space within translucent walls, downstairs, with his wife, the assistant manager. Jack could almost hear the whispers from afar. He knew they were talking about him in the factory and wondered if there was money. He couldn't see the future through the transparent walls he carried with him everywhere. One day, another man turned down the corner of Jack's space, and Jack punched through the walls that the man didn't have. But when he walked away from the dreaming fallen man, the ectoplasmic walls were back. When the factory was well stolen, Jack's room was extricated from the house and sent on tour to mining camps by boxcar undercarriage. As the cage melted down in the rays of the winter and summer suns, Jack dared break through it more and more. One day, surrounded by square-strung ropes, he destroyed its plastery remains. "Champion," cried the blind. Is life then virtual or serious, lived in this our way? We float above real danger like a TV show, not yet oppressed, and our loved ones live. The depression and the death of Earth are as far away as racist lynchings, and we are brave and fight our wars on drugs and terror, on education, on thought, as well as those who formulate the other party's sins. Do we deserve democracy or liberty, or just the politicians' faked up freedom? And is this a real question? And the decay spreads, gives reason for our fears, the fears we love and pray to for brain food. But we are daily saved by entertainment. The spectacles and tough guys played by sissies make us think that we are they as we hide our sex like them and pose our muscles on the well-earned couch. Crown of creation, end of days, and Jesus saves. Don't worry, be happy. Crime in the streets can be cured by race, by a gun, by wishing, giving wings to pigs to change our wondrous world. Yang is action, yin the ground. Together they awaken us to energy in the universal field, and so it builds and then divides by lines and circles, spheres as thought and feeling pass through time. And we, imprisoned in our eyes and ears and food and perfume, shiverings and sloth. With these tools, we plant our flag in all the height and breadth and depth of space and length of time, and on a little patch of consciousness, grudgingly allowed in the growing world made of pages from a ledger. Thank you.
I got a lot of good meaning from your poem. That's my reaction from it. You're asking for feedback.
Yeah.
I certainly got it. How you focused minutely and then you focused broadly, and that was compatible. The departure from specific focus to broader focus.
A lot of times I've been told that the connections are not evident when I talk a little bit too long.
Well, talking too long is a problem in itself, but abstracting within a topic, why not? Why not? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, it's nice to hear you speak through Jack Dempsey.
Yeah, Jack. Okay. All right, Bill, thank you very much. And by the way, some people I was talking with earlier today were talking about that. You were talking about We Rise Above Our Fears, like a television show or something. And these, actually 3 comics were talking about, everything on TV, so much of it is about law and order and how they always win in the end. They have to wind it up to a good news in a 1-hour show. And they were saying that one movie adapted from Cormac McCarthy, what is it? No Time
No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, they said that just ends with like the bad guy up in the air. And they said viewers were perplexed because it was not in formula, like your poems. So there you go.
And the cops are always good people. Good people.
So you stand with Cormac McCarthy on this, Bill, and that's pretty good company.
Thanks, Mom.
Indeed. All right. So now if we could cross the ocean and go way on over to the fiery West Coast in California and to San Francisco. Hello, Dane.
Hello, Mo. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Not burning up here yet. Plenty of smoke. So I'll just dive in here.
Okay.
Nocturnal train dream. In the dream, I'm riding on a train, like the Metro North, entering a long, dark tunnel to Grand Central Station or the Paris Metro. My cock is out, much bigger than in the for real porno movie big. Hard, battering ram hard, strong enough to crash through castle gates, setting them on fire for grins. Everyone looking at the floor, looking at the ceiling, or on their cell phones calling 911, or video capturing the events transpiring. A stranger to me, a woman, do-si-dos up, strap-on wagging, bends me over the seat and fucks my ass. And when she reaches around to grab me just as I'm coming, I think, now this is a woman I could marry and divorce and marry and divorce and take home to meet mama.
Yeah, I got to hear your mama's reaction.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that sounds like Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. But yeah. Okay, number 2, Mr. Dane.
Satchidananda. Where's the bus to Satchidananda? I borrow this for my own use, to put a word to what I'm doing anyway, to let the sleepy part take a nap so the rest of me can fully awake. I cut off my arms so long ago, now I'm reattaching them. Sat, so my fingers can feel again what is real, really. Being, good, true, right, essence. I see old things new. Ched, consciousness. There is no place to go when you are everywhere. I won't let the worry of dark, I let the worry of dark alone settle to the bottom of the lake. I was always free just for the saying yes. Any place is holy land. Some are worshipped by you learning them so. Ananda, happiness, joy, bliss, seeing a fellow traveler on dusty road, sitting in the garden, talking, holding souls close, loving, work, existential consciousness, bliss. Say hello and welcome to gentle, calm, and kind till the release of the big let go.
Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you. Were you a fan of Jack Kerouac?
Yeah.
You know, The Lonesome Traveler and On the Road, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's all so good until it goes.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we hear number 3, Dane, please? 3's a charm, brother.
All right. Blush. When the petals wrap around you like angel wings, morning sun yellow paints your body gentle, kind, kissing, kiss. Crow ants in your hair. A honeybee lands on your left nipple, searching for the memory of your baby's milk. Sweet. Here you are, safe in harbor of meadow, green and mustard yellow, swells, falls, arching, pulsing. Coyote guards garden border and you. Adjusting your hips, you blossom wider. Fingers surprise each one of the petals. Linger, attention, sacred. Licks from bear awakes you, laughing. Follow the cloud animal parade. The fluffy leads back inside you. Slipping on mossy wet rock. Squeezing to brace the fall. Floating on blanket, on grass, on earth. Cozy clouds caress the all of you. You swell just enough to meet it. All senses alive, you relax, get ready, wanting the shifting of urge, the pulsing of fingertips on heartbeat beating, butterflies flapping alight, tickles, giggles, breathing, hotter than the burning bush. Extinguish the flame with pollen, sticky, sweet, oozing, leaking, licks, lubricate. Sensual sympathia spreading wide out, open. This woman, this Sheila McGee, plowed, planted, blending, merging the land and self. Contractions expel, the pleasure coming out, the many sparkles of liquid peaches, gifts, more than enough for tomorrow.
Yeah. Warm and wet. Thank you. And I was thinking, honeybee lands on your left nipple, searching the scent of your baby milk.
Searches for the memory of your baby's milk.
Wow, that struck me among other lines you put in that poem. Well, okay, thank you very much. Hang in there for the second round. And now I'm going to cross the ocean again and come back here to Paris in France, and ask to hear something. Ask to hear something from Claire. Hello, Claire.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Claire.
How are you? You good?
I feel good. Anybody else feel all right tonight? Yeah.
I'm feeling all right, although I'm probably about to pass out now. So I'm going to have to miss your performance, Claire. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because it's a couple hours later where Mo is, and he starts very early in the morning. So leave the recording on, though, Mo, and I'll turn us off later.
All right. You got it. I'll
Leave us
let you.
on.
So yeah,
Okay, well,
my user is going to my computer is going to stay on, so it keeps on recording, and
Okay.
I just made you host. Okay.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. All right, everybody say thank you, Mo, for your technical help and your fine poetry. Thank you.
Thank
Sleep
you,
well.
everybody.
Bye, Mo.
Sleep well, Mo.
Thanks, Mo.
Bye bye.
Okay.
Good night.
So Miss Claire, over
Yeah,
to you.
I'm gonna read one first poem called Chaos. This chaos makes me want to hide somewhere between my new and my older self. The terrible noise of the cars makes it almost impossible for me to get out of my place, and the streets already seem to move while I'm still on my bed. When did this start? When did this happen? A world of every sound assailing me and telling me to stop every minute, every second, to fight that tumult of the outside world. But I must go on. I must go where the poems are, where the words still have significance, where the letters are my friends, and I feel myself again. I must go on, and I will fight again and again until it's okay not to feel safe. Until the feathers are my friends and let me fly away without fear, without pain, fly where the skies are gray.
Yes. All right.
My first one.
Yes. And reminding everyone that that's in Claire's second language. She's ready this poem in. Okay, Claire, number 2, please.
I have another one called Heaven or Womanhood. It's very different. He bites my arm. There's still lipstick on the pillow. Plates filled with Chinese food rest on the table like exhausted witnesses of hunger and passionate love. My mind is full of jazz. I want to play the saxophone and hold this instrument as though it was my lover. This is because of Miles Davis. His music is like honey. It flows in my heart and caresses my soul the same way he holds me, with vigor and tenderness, with desire, fearless. The high note sounds like a music from a cloud, muffled and cotton-like. I feel like I am 5 while listening to this song, melting in his arms like sugar in a cup. We just made love. I've never felt such perfect contradiction between childhood and womanhood. I'm in the middle. I feel so strong and fragile at the same time. It's like a never-ending ocean driving me up to the horizon, taking me to the skies of heaven.
Yeah. And a shout out to Jazz and Miles Davis as the elevator up. Yeah. You know, I as a jazz poet can certainly ring with that. Okay, Claire, can we have a Three's a Charm, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave you choice between one called Grown Man or the other called The Cat. Which one would you rather have?
Well, I like Grown Men.
Yeah, Grown Men sounds good.
Yeah, Grown Men.
And it's actually a poem I wrote about another poet whose performance really touched me. Grown Man. He brushes his forehead as if from embarrassment, but the lines come through anyway, in some truth and grace, keeping in profile as if to hide his depth. The little boy is not there between these fingers, but a grown man, gently exploring his soul. The words come through anyway, and their great sensitivity brush the air in a nuanced purple cloud in silence.
Love that last line.
Okay, Claire.
Rusty cloud in.
In a nuanced purple cloud in silence.
Wow, gorgeous.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you, Claire. Okay. Well, I happen to be the last one in this round, and I got to open the night with one, so I will return now with two. We were so many. We were working as one. We were miles and miles like mulling wheat. It is sizzling, this summer heat. But now we are scattered, alone and apart. Flung we are, so near and far apart. But you and I may live as one, though cool's in the heart. And if anything is left of the cool in the soul, oh, please flash it to me.
Great, Mo.
Thank you. And now I'm going to read you a just a scene, an opening narration of a play that I wrote about a jazz club I used to go to called The Balcony. And so I did not get sued. I called the play Balcony Island. And so here we go. This has been a very hot jazz club. Okay. And so it's a scene from a play. So here we go. There's a man on a telephone talking to a man in the club. And the man on this telephone says, "How do I get there? How do I find you? Hey, man, do you take American Express?" And the barfly says, "Shh, okay, listen. To get to Club Island, you come up Fifth Avenue and swing onto South Aiken, and you roll past a string of chic boutiques they like to call the Village. On a weekend night, you roll down the window to survey the stock, the big sellers, accessories, and complete makeovers, unique, exotic, in mass production. The dogs are inbred to ensure the proper temperament and restraint. They make a big show and fuss to and in their pedigreed coats. Now the cats, lonely but indifferent. While they can see right through you, they won't look in your eye. You take a right where the big light shines, and you found us on Walnut Street. Shh. You see, you need to coast along, a trendy car, beneath the shine of mock Victorian street lamps, a full pass by the glitter gap. And then you steer into a parking space, rubber hugging the curb. Now turn off the motor. Shh. Lower the music. Shh. Lean back into your seat. Rest both arms in your lap, along your thighs, between your legs. Now empty the day's trash. Breathe in and listen. Breathe in and breathe out, like taking a piss, like passing gas. Cool, man. Shh. Find your face in the mirror and warm to it. Glow on it. Run a finger slowly across your cheek. Outline the scene. Fix your eyes on the eyes fixed on you in the glass and realize a moment. Now, radiate. Point your brows, purse your lips, seduce. Slowly nod into your most flattering profile and beam. Now open your mouth. Taste of cold, wet drink with a sting to it. Then slide that warm, moist tongue over your warm, moist gums. Now lick like a snake. You can do it over your two front teeth. Let me hear you go. Wow. Shh. Breezily loft a kiss to the lips glistening in the glass. Now feel the rub and the smell of sweet breath. Loosen an arm at the shoulder, rotate the joint 2 or 3 times, and lean towards the door, hips and ribs bulging. Close your eyes, glide a light hand through the darkness. Fanning your fingers, you will touch upon a protrusion, a coal and steel and metal, the handle, your hand to it, caress it softly. Feel it as it warms to your touch, as your body heat flows to it, through it, as it softens and begins to sweat, begins to moisten with your own wet palm, your slippery fingertips, along its edges, its curves, its creases. Now gently squeeze it like you would to an inviting stranger, an awaiting lover. Squeeze and relax together. Grip gently and firmly, sensing you and this handle, this object are one. You and it expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting. You are fused to a single motive, a shared desire, one sole purpose. By turns, subtle and forceful, by motions around and centered, by movements suggestive and direct, you will coax this matter that lays in your hand to rock and sway, to pulsate. Now breathe in your own cadence, till seemingly without effort, all resistance withers and it lets go this hold, this handle on the lock. Now the big moment arrives when you squeeze and you grip and you lift and you push, and its response is so fluid and natural to open itself. Up and out you swing through space, you holding on till its distance exceeds your own, and you finally let go. You finally let it all go before you even get there. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, okay, well, that is the end of the first round. And why don't we have a little chat among and between each other, and we'll come back on in a few and do the second round.
On peut faire plein de bruit maintenant.
Hmm?
Je dis qu'on peut faire plein de bruit maintenant.
I don't know if that's good or bad. Okay. So, that club would end up getting closed down when a New York investment interest came to that street, tore half of it down so it could build a mall for Fashion 21, Gap, Starbucks, and things like that. So there went down the club that I call in this play Balcony Island, which in fact was simply called The Balcony. So that's the background behind that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
The other are so quiet. The other are so quiet.
In fact, I may not be able to stay on a bit longer. Got early wake up, and I got to make sure my son's ready for his first day of school tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So there you go.
Happy first day school for him.
Yes.
Yeah. All the chairs are 6 feet apart from each other inside.
but he's
Yeah.
actually going.
Yeah,
Oh, it's gonna.
because of the transition moving to Germany, he hasn't really met any new friends. So him at 10, he wants the opportunity to try and socialize to an extent.
Mhm.
Good, good.
German are good people.
Now in Paris, where we've been an open city for what now, over 8 weeks, maybe 10 weeks, I think, I'm not sure. The latest report from the government says that our infection rate is spiking.
Mm.
But like in so many other countries, the infection rate has spiked, but the number of critical cases is way, way down, and the number of deaths is way, way down.
It's not. It's growing in France. For just
Explain.
the last day, they told it's growing slowly because the part the people who are contaminated those last days are about 40 years old, so they are not as fragile as oldest people, but they were in holidays just with friends, and now they are coming back and maybe want to visit family and older people, and so they are afraid they can contaminate older people and increase the number of people at the hospital and bad cases.
Yeah,
So-
that's right. Don't whatever state one might be in, don't bring it to the elderly or somebody that's already got a serious precondition. But I must add, following the world news on this pandemic, the soaring number of deaths that happened earlier in the spring is not happening according to reports. And the number of severe maladies in hospitals is much, much lower by government reports, okay? By government reports, not by me. The other thing is that while that is happening, there are severe, once again, return to lockdowns and shutdowns of businesses. So it's causing an extra wave. Now that there's, in so many countries, now that there's not so much fear about the mortality rate, now the numbers on the sinking economy are beginning to fill in the void for people stressed out. I saw you nodding your head, Dane.
I would be cautious about any of these reportings because there is a lag time between number of cases and death. So while it may appear early on that there's not as many, I'm not comfortable with that. There's still too many in the United States anyway. I don't know, maybe things are better in Europe, but in the United States, it's just way, 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 way too many cases. And so there's going to be a lot more people dying. And I also think that we've been propagandized, to say, oh, it's just these old people, and oh, it's just this small number and stuff. Well, 5% of 6 billion is a fucking lot of people, and that's the roughly the mortality rate that this has, So if we don't behave ourselves, this is going to be around. It's going to be around. And more people will die, and it will have, bad effects on younger people. They are not immune, and it's not only just that you have, some underlying condition. It's a serious thing. So we just got to be careful. That's all.
Well, I know for myself, I have heard such conflicting information. So that I agree with you. You got to be careful, because I, for one, don't think that I have concluded where this is going, except that I know it's going to be around, and it's going to be around into 2021. I'm just hoping. My family has a connection with an epidemiologist in one of the United States' central research centers, University of Pittsburgh Research Hospital Lab. And their chief epidemiologist, who talks to my son through this, he says that the cases coming in now are less severe, and that there are so many people showing symptoms, but not the severity that we suffered in the earlier months of the pandemic. Now, he's in America, where this pandemic, I think, continues to spike. But his opinion, who has done it from research rather than a political point of view, he believes that the worst of the mortality rate is over. And so I'm hoping, not stating that he's correct, I'm hoping he's correct in that, the number of mortality cases will remain lower than it has been. Because one of the sad things about this is children are losing childhood through this pandemic. We talk about how we as adults have been quarantined and isolated, and the high rates of depression and suicide that are going up. It is true. And I am, since me and my family, we bear a lot of children. And so we talk about children a lot. And I got 4 of my own, and I got like 101 cousins that are all having children. And we're all lamenting that our children are going, what happened to my graduation? What happened to my final day of school in June? What happened to my sports league? What happened to the dances? And I will not, they are past these dates of graduation and sports leagues and dances. They are now gone for our age group and over. And that really saddens me. That they're going to say, in some ways, the year of my graduation, I sat in front of a screen, and the year of our reunion in front of a screen, and that's really sad, as well as what's happening, the alienation and suffering toward adults as well.
Yeah, that is. You're right about that. But and let me just say this though: everything is different all the time. So everybody's graduation is different, and then there are personal, individual things that you don't, think about. We just think about this now because it's so widespread. But you can find other points in history when children lost their childhood, and this is a natural thing that's happening. It's part of being human that's causing this, and it's not because we are susceptible to disease. So
it reminds me, like, for instance, living here in France right now, as I do, I'm not French, I live here, reminds me of what children may have gone through during the Nazi occupation. Right. When it was, we are the targets of the occupiers, so children, you stay at home, you watch what you say, you're not going to go out and play as you normally did, and we hope the bombs or the trigger-happy occupiers don't turn on you. Now, I realize that at this point, the worst the United States has is militarized police. Militarized police. It looked like they could go to combat in Star Wars. And these unidentified agents who are just taking people off the street and arresting them in unmarked cars. So we have that going on. Anyway. And I'm very skeptical about a vaccine. That's just me. I'm not going to urge anybody to take it or not take it. As for me, after listening to all the pros and cons, I'm just not going after. I'm not going to take any COVID vaccine. No way. And so since I'm not a scientist, that's only my own reaction to scientific points of view, both pro and con, about vaccines.
Well, on the
One thing
vaccine.
is concerned.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I was saying what it seems to me is that there's two agendas. The first agenda is to get rid of a certain amount of people, and the second agenda is to pretend like it's not happening, so that the vote can go on without anyone being blamed for the deaths of the people. There's another agenda hidden in the background where they want to give the vaccines to people, but the batches of vaccines will probably not be the same in every neighborhood. So that's just my opinion.
Well, if you have competing commercial interests providing the vaccine, in this case, marketing it, that's all possible. That one type of vaccine may affect you differently than another type. That is a tragedy in the making, in my opinion. I don't like that. To sell it to the quickest maker and one who's most capable of mass manufacture, when we are talking about a potentially death-threatening, I just think putting a profit motive in front of it, national health care, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. So, anyway, and one thing that I'm more and more clear of is that this, after 9/11, when we had the Patriot Act and then the National Security Defense Act, when those threats were deemed over, those restrictive laws of surveillance and increased police powers remained intact, remained as law. And so I believe, unfortunately, that what they're talking about now with drone surveillance and other forms of surveillance in the name of pandemic management will become the drone surveillance and electronic surveillance that Elon Musk and other so-called visionaries are advocating for us. The chip that tells them what we're doing all the time. And I don't believe those are going to be relaxed. And I certainly don't believe the Republicans are. And I hate to surprise any loyal Democrats, but tell me if I'm wrong that you see Biden and that whole crew keeping those same restrictive measures in place when they get elected. Now, I'm not voting Trump, but the Democrats held the same unnecessary security laws upon us after 9/11. Yeah, go ahead.
They don't want to get blamed. That's why they'll do it. They're afraid of being blamed. So if they get rid of that stuff and something happens and everybody go, oh, well, see, you should have known this.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because they're afraid, not that they're going to abuse it or actually actively use it against people. They don't want to be blamed. So.
Well, I'm sorry they're worried about their careers more than they're worried about the democratic operation of the United States of America. That they're worried about their particular careers. And isn't that the case? That as a congressman or senator or presidential person, my legacy and reputation are more important than the legacy of freedom of speech, of the press, to vote, to other things. And so that's how I see it. Anyway, like I was saying, what happened after 9/11 only increased in government surveillance after the threat was deemed over. And that included a massive increase to government surveillance under Barack Obama. Yes. So many buddies' favorite heroes. This country is going down that kind of route by both parties. That is a fact, not an opinion. So I don't like it. I think with the right priorities of education and opportunity, things we've neglected for everybody, there'd be less need to surveil everybody. That's what I think. But I think maybe it's time we start the second round. What do you all think about that? Should we start the second round? No? Okay.
Down with that.
Okay, we'll go for that. Okay.
I'm surveilling.
Sorry?
I'm surveilling.
Okay, surveil us, Jack.
Yeah.
Keep me straight, man. Keep me straight.
Yeah.
Against my better decisions. Okay, so because Mervyn has an early morning, can we begin the second round with you, Mervyn?
Oh, because I was getting ready to leave, you know, for the.
Okay.
But
It's your call, but I invite you to come on now if you wish to do so.
okay, I'll do one piece. I'll do.
All right.
This was just published online on a website called The Right Launch, and the piece is called The Unforgotten Path. So, November 18th, 1987, fire at King's Cross Underground Station leaves 31 dead. Quote, the worst fire in history in London Underground killed 31 people and injured more than 100 when a stray match started a blaze beneath a wooden escalator. As early British telecommunications. 31 scorched. 1 week before I came home to London, I was lost. 7 years since I left my childhood in England, my father told me to meet him at King's College. I arrived at King's Cross, 6 miles away, accosted by roses, carnations, lilies, a meadow of flowers bunched in yellow, pink, green crepe paper bundles amassed as a river, baptizing grouped onlookers, sliding as snails sunken in pitchers. Memories were weathered, soiled, faded from sun and rain, rinsing the newness repeated by mothers, daughters, sons, struggling to fill the gaps. I struggled to fill the gaps without my father. A fragile bond as the crepe paper bridging across a great ocean, not sinking in pictures of my father, ripping at minuscule memories to fade.
Thank you for such a good piece on a bittersweet memory. Thank you, Marvin, and I wish your children all the best. Your child or children?
Well, no, my oldest ones are 27 with 4 kids and 22, both in America, and then I have a 10-year-old here, so he's the one tomorrow.
Oh, okay, well, anyway, wish him all the best entering school for his own sense of contentment and for his health and safety.
All right.
You too, wellness.
No, it's a pleasure to be with y'all again.
Yeah, it was to our benefit. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mervyn.
All right.
Okay.
Good night.
Night.
So now I want to call on Bill Strangmeyer. Hello, Bill. Bill Strangmeyer.
My computer doesn't want to move too fast. Okay. Let's see. You ever gotten a rejection slip that made you mad?
Any form of rejection makes me mad.
No, well, there's rejection and then there's overstepping the boundaries. I'm making a reference to the New Yorker poems. This is called Bird and Twig in a New York Voice, a doggerel. Dig deeper, says the pretentious fraud, but what's meant is more Wordsworth or gossip that's known to the butcher, the baker, talk about victims and blame, or the way I am bad because not in the in-group that's modish today. What they say in the city, if you can't take a joke, is an out-and-out fuck you, and here's where it lies. There's a reason for everything, and I too have mine, so go shit in your hat, pull it down till it covers your ears. And please do not think that your charm's overwhelming, for the too rarely used is the point I would make. Like your other bold claim that's writ out on your shingle, or your taste's in your mouth and so bad I won't share it. Okay.
I like that one, Bill.
Thank you, Jack.
Me too.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let's see. I call this, let's see, yeah. I call this Life in the 50s, Life in the Bars, Man and Boy. All of my lovers had beer on their breath once my heart found its joy in a place where the people had roles and we were not coy. The taste of ashes went with booze and fake champagne with melodious coos at breakfast, chemical cheap wine at night, and lunch with a pint of yellow port. Oh why, I hear 3-4 angels cry. And now and then I'd catch a drink just to hear the clink that made the barkeep rich. The love was dark and musty like a cave. How free and sexy wild we were. Get bent. Oh, to be a boy on the dusty hitchhiked roads of 1959, real songs on the heavy radios in the heavy real cars that ate road. Barrett Strong and Money's melancholy, hitching down to a witchy town, to heavy piano. I saw the world so weird then, like a comic book, a boy in a 3D frame. You wouldn't believe me, Mom and Dad, so now I'm here, kidnapped to their paper planet where I'll always be a bizarre kid. I'll never grow up and I'll never get laid and I'll always have a boss. I'll surely have the safety you so wanted for me. The double strum of the dumb of the brothers, those Catherine clowns. Oh, to be in high school now that you're a geek. Dook, dook, dook. The fires burn no more. And dum up, do, 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 and the angels eavesdrop on our love. So don't tell lies, don't cry. So sentimentality ordered our lives and our fights, kept rubbers in wallets and creases sharp on slacks. A sentimental view that our boys had our backs, our manhood sufficient to get the goods and our rights. The respect of the geezers, the love of the girls and the bread, a fond romance with cowboy gangster cops, and the sexy disdain a real man offers a trollop until life's gift, that hard left hook to the head. Then there we sat in bubble drama with beer. They said our heads had more muscles than our fists had brains. But we loved the pain as much as chewing on iron. What kept us alive and ahead was our lack of fear, sweating and cold, our superior wit, our pain, but not too much. The chicks only had to see we could feel. Here come the 60s and here comes our life. All the rebellion and love is the theme well honored in the breach of etiquette. We hid behind the public vow that made some think that we were weak. I ain't no peace creep motherfucker. Bam, and up against the wall, up against the Main Street wall. Just watch out for the pigs. They'll arrest you if you let them, and then you're in a lot of shit. We have times we'd wish to hold, and loves we hope will never leave, not thinking of the sins we grow, the sins that make them fade away. That time was home to a me that's dead, that left me alone when I needed it most. But the time doesn't last, for the wilderness now is outlawed, and the rust is the law of the land.
So, repeat those last two lines again, Bill. They're deep. The last two lines. The wilderness
is outlawed, and the rust is the law of the land.
All right. Yeah, that lands heavy. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. The judge weighs in. So now I would like to move over to Poets Unplugged with Bunny. Are you there, Bunny? Bunny? Well, hearing.
Here I am.
Okay, there you
Hi.
are. Okay, so welcome back, Bunny. We're waiting to listen from you.
Yeah, I have a little bit of pain, but I will read here. Let me find it. Okay. Talk with God we had. Yes. So this is another piece out of #Wuhan.
Okay.
My book of poetry. The poem is called Change. Isn't it strange how quick there's change? But put together your hands. We better hold hands. We pray for the world and in it every member. Put your hands together. Pray to any god you wish, anyone being on your list. As one united we should stand till the end of the nightmare. People of Wuhan, put your hands together. Us all, not just now, but once and for all. As special, national, international, we stand as one tall. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
now the check to that, změna. Není to divné, v tak krátké chvíle změna nastává. Společně spojte se, společně držme se. Modlíme se s Bohem. O svět s každým členem. Spojte ruce vaše. Modlete se k Bohům. Jedno jaké víře, kdokoliv na tvém papíře. Společně tu stojíme, až přijde výhra. Byla to noční můra. Občané Wuhanu, spojte své ruce, my všichni. Nejen v této chvíli, ale navždy. Speciálně, nacionálně, internacionálně stojíme jako celek pohromadě navěk.
Okay.
The Czech version was a little bit longer at that part if you compare the words when I see them like next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
The Czech version is a little bit longer.
Well, I have a question for you. Have people from Wuhan, the title and topic of your book, have they been able to read your work dedicated to their
It's people in Czech Republic?
No, in Wuhan, in China.
In Wuhan, I don't know. It's out as an ebook and everything. I'm not sure if they read it.
Okay, I'm just asking because I've been seeing someone living in Paris, a prostitute who wishes to quit. So we get along very well. And she has a telephone app that translates my English into Chinese and her Chinese into English, so that she's expanding her vocabulary in English. So there is an app that she has on her phone. The app is of Chinese origin. So I'm just letting you know that. Mima and I have been expanding, particularly her vocabulary, through that app. Okay, just letting you know it exists now.
Okay.
All right. Okay, well, thank you. And is Vicky there? Hello, Vicky.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Vicky. Would you like
Hi.
to read for us?
I'm going to do Two Grandmothers. And this is a poem or a prose poem about my two grandmothers. One, my mother's mother, who was a young woman when she had her first child. And she was age 14. She was taken advantage of by her adopted parents, her stepbrother, adopted father. And she was left in a little small town. The wife went on and moved down south. And they didn't want to take their little black daughter with them. So they left her in Illinois in a small town. She ended up with a husband and had like 12 more children. And her name was Iona. She was a pianist, a devout Christian, and she raised all of her children. And they all went on to get degrees and be educated from that little outhouse and that little shack that they grew up in. So that's Iona. My second grandmother was named Lucy, and she was a Pentecostal, another Christian woman, and she had 12 children as well. And she grew up, well, they grew up in Ohio, where I was born. So this is dedicated to my two grandmothers. And the name of it is called Grandma's Portrait. And the reason I'm calling it Grandma's Portrait is because it's really, back then it was really important to get one good, decent picture of yourself for your obituary, or just to have to pass through the family. And it goes like this. my two grandmothers, beauty and intellect. But there's a noble sadness hiding in their eyes. She wears a smile, though elements of insecurities tremble in its corner. Dignity and suffering combating for the control of her expressions, hiding the battle scars of her life, intending to leave one good portrait for her remembrance. Alas, she has conquered the moment in a photo. She has mustered up the dignity, the mighty gathering of her composure, and she struck a pose. She stayed frozen in her pose until the camera's eyes shuddered, captured her contrived deportment. Now her hardened gaze spoke softly and peered from the photograph. I am your great ancestor. I am your great ancestor was captured in her face. Captured also in her face was every cloak she'd worn. Recorded in detail were the disappointments of her nuptial disillusions and the slippery delights that slid from her hands into the arms of despair. Solid hopes that melted from the heat of fate's unstable outcomes. Her accomplishments seemed but trivial compared to their struggle and the overcoming of them. The loss of their child, a child or children, locked grief deep within her eyes. Her future grandchildren fingered gingerly over grandma's photo, trying to extract a sense of her being as if they could touch her. These women in this photo was our beginning, a photo which has divulged much. Scribbled on the back, use this one for my obituary. We examine closer as their life and love shone through the faded photo. For my future generations, I asked, read my works. My life is in there. Draw new conclusions from my conclusions, for these times are not my times. She wanted not to leave sadness and pity as her legacy. All of her friends and husbands were no more. Despite her attempt in this photo to evoke a positive reaction, we sensed that her life was not easy. Her devout and pious ways seemed of no good purpose. She, at a point, abandoned the realms of religion and religious rules. For it seemed freedom and security would come only by the seeking of her own noble tenure. From no way she made a way in music, through poetry, or designing things, working, hustling, and fighting tirelessly against the system of classism, racism, and the unjust political system. We will leave her secrets secret as to how she untied herself from the serf mentality or the slave chains and hitched her beliefs to God and God alone. Artist, cook, merchant, and musician status rose. Mudcloth and dyed fabric, beads and instruments, knowledge of her hair, herbs and mushrooms and clothes. We shall rejoice in her fortitude. We will find what made her laugh. We shall love her in whatever shame she bore the burden of. We see her insecurities and her pride and her pictures. Despite the hidden tears, somehow we knew what made her cry. We could see fear crouching in the wrinkles of her forehead, in her smile, and in her eyes. The toll of the uncertain tough times, the colored section, and the wars, all of the injustices she braved the hangings, mostly the constant hovering of gloom and her vulnerability. As she decided she was to leave us this portrait to portray her living, she was labeled as a laborer, a mere peasant, according to those who measured them by the earthly wealth. Yet they both wore the crown of empresses. And all who spoke of her said, these women transformed them by their attributes, and they transferred their good qualities to all that they met, whether loved or despised for their tenacity. She left the others affected by their grace and wonderment of being. Against all odds, my grandmothers left us many traces of their positive traits. Secrets were revealed to those whom they loved. Secrets encoded now. Well springs well from their loyal wealth flowed into her offspring's blood. From the gene pool of brilliance came wisdom, beauty, and love. According to man's system, not God's, they were deemed impoverished and of third-class status, yet they mesmerized and left folks enchanted. Amazingly, these women who had not plenty, when asked why they cared and shared so much, one would answer, it's a blessing to give a lot of your little bit rather than to give a little bit of your whole lot. And the other would answer, because God has given me enough to share, and her eulogy shall speak. Blessed is all that has been made privy to their encounter. Each of them was esteemed by poor and the rich alike. They will be memorialized through their offspring, or when we hear them playing the piano in our memories. The food, oh God, the food. One beseeched the Lord and cried silently, and the other fell on the church floor without pride, calling on the Lord. We shall read her poetry. We shall draw from her strength and pray to all, and pray that all would have her aptitude and her attitude, but most of all, their combined perseverance and faith as they have willed. My grandmothers, Mama Ola Deji, all around Queen in the building.
Okay. Well, that's a tribute. That is a tribute. Is that a section of a novel? I mean, is that a poem or actually a chapter in a novel?
It's a prose just about my grandmother.
Yeah, I know who it's about. That's really clear and well done. I was just curious with all the prose. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Do you have a second one for us?
No, because that one was long. I'm just going to pass on the second one.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for that. And I hope that the family members and others who relate to family, besides their own self-interests, will get a chance to read that. Or those who should, again, relate to their family might get a taste of what that's all about. Okay. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you very much.
Mo, I'm going to say good night. I'm fading.
Okay. Fade away.
Thank you, Vicky. Bye.
Night, everybody. Thank you all.
You're welcome, Bill.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, sleep well, Bill. All right. Okay.
Bye, Bill. Bye, Bill.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see now. Carrie, can we hear from you, Carrie?
Okay. I have two poems. One from Hurricanes Never Apologize.
No, they don't.
No, they do not. I was listening to Radiohead's Karmic Police one time, and this poem just start bubbling up. So, called Mind Thought Police.
You were listening to what?
What?
You were listening to what?
Radiohead's Karmic Police.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this poem started bubbling up. So it's called Mind Thought Police. Mind Thought Police, arrest that man staring too much at that side boob. Go catalog his porn star fantasy backlogs where girls don't mind a grab snatch. Mind thought police, arrest that lady. She's waiting to implode. This world has no soul left. She joins a weird cult and now carries a gun. Instantly, there's karma you must all deal with. If you do it wrong, you'll mess it up. The butterfly's already flapped its wings and caused an explosion. Mind thought police, please subdue my nephew's ADD tendencies to go to the mat slamming his sister whenever he acts up. Mind thought police, please place a weapon in my niece's hands. If she's thrown to the mat by her brother or anyone else, she has to learn to defend herself. Is this what you wanted? A kingdom built of chaos. All the good knights have left to take a smoke break, sharpening the weapons. Mind thought police, move these cars faster across the bridge. This baby's got to keep warm and earn her living for another day more. For a while, I lost myself, but now I'm waking up, but the snooze dial's still humming loudly.
All right. Okay. And so you have a second one?
Yes, yes I
Oh,
do.
good. Oh, good.
A little bit different. This is from Remembering You as I Go Walking. Sheep's Meadow, or Thank God It's Not 1984. And I don't mean the year. We gained a simple pleasure yesterday. We lay down in the virgin grass and watched the cirrus clouds drift past on the most perfect of days. Although it's not against the law for women to go bare-chested anymore, too many people are outdoors. I did wear a flesh-colored tank top, and I got to stare at your beautiful naked chest for at least an hour. Maybe when I breastfeed, if I ever do, I will walk outside with my top off. The sun was situated in the branches of the tree, and a half moon shone in the blue sky as if it was a cloud. Why, during this paradise, was there a drone flying in the sky? I hid my face in the grass for a minute. I love its smell. I was thankful we weren't in 1984, when Winston and Julia almost had a beautiful encounter in the tall grass, but there were microphones hidden at ground level. Sheep's Meadow is lovelier than most beaches. I don't care for the texture of sand, except in the Dominican Republic. The sand is like powdered sugar, but I do love natural water everywhere. I want to take this potent late afternoon energy everywhere I go, so I could spend it with people I care most about. When will there be another day just like this? And when will I see you again?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep it up, Karen. I
Thanks.
noticed that you're like some, actually like several of us on this, in this group, you've been publishing quite a bit lately, and that's that's
I'm
the
working on my next book, so it'll come out soon.
Yeah, I'm working on a collection of romance poems, and
Oh, great.
yeah, with Jack actually, and
Wonderful.
and I for one think hope you all gonna like that effort when it comes out. You know.
Yeah.
Not a
Same.
word. Not a word about elections. Not a word about this pandemics.
Exactly. Exactly.
But mine are going to be love and love lost. I mean both, not just not just all.
A pandemic of its own.
The paraphrasing could go on and on. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, thank you, Carrie. And next, I'd like to move on to Caroline. Hello, Caroline.
That's it. Oh, how? Let's find. Those are all French texts. This one is about, it's titled Impatience. Impatience?
Impatience.
Impatience. And it's about, well, you know, it's like if inside myself there was a woman, very objective and realistic, and a little girl just hoping for the prince of the fairy tale will come to save her, and it's a sort of dialogue between both parts of me inside.
Okay.
J'en ai ma claque de renaître de mes cendres. Je suis fatiguée. J'aimerais changer de jeu, être moi par exemple. Sans faux semblant de jolie princesse bien sous tout rapport, souriante, aimante, fragile, juste comme il faut. Quelle naze. Les mille et une façons de m'effacer en faisant croire que je me révèle. À moins que ce ne soit moi qui prenne les regards pour des miroirs. Elle est jolie, la princesse, docile, toujours prête à croire les idioties qu'on lui raconte. Mais la princesse est amnésique. Pour ne pas voir les lendemains qui se déchantent, pouf, oublié. La princesse attend le retour du prince pour l'épouser. J'ai beau ne pas y croire, elle si. Et la petite aussi. La petite agrippée à l'espoir qu'un jour papa viendra la chercher, elle m'emmerde. Elle et leur voile d'illusions passées, qui m'empêchent de voir les vraies couleurs de la vie. Chrysalide amère, masque faussé. Alors je regarde passer les ombres au loin de ce que la vie a de beau à m'offrir, crispée sur un espoir de mieux, encore meilleur, qui jamais ne vient. Pourquoi venir? Mes mains sont déjà pleines de rien. Je râle et me désole en vain. Tant qu'elles espèrent ainsi, elles ne sentent pas leur peine. Le désespoir ami qui les libérerait de leur attente, et moi avec, j'attends le jour où un prince passera et la réveillera. Jouera à saut de dragon et d'un baiser magique réveillera la femme de la torpeur où elle sommeille, bien protégée dans sa tour d'ivoire. La femme, souveraine ennemie des rustres frustrés qui, paniqués à chaque réveil, l'ont horrifiée. J'ai aiguisé mes larmes, nettoyé la rivière, aménagé ses berges, parcouru la forêt, apprivoisé la louve. J'ai exploré ma nature profonde jusqu'à l'océan, ses baleines et ses mondes de musique et de rêve. Je suis montée haut, jusqu'aux étoiles qui filent, haut dans le ciel. Partout, je t'ai cherché et je ne t'ai pas trouvé.
Yes, the vérité. J'ai cherché, mais partout vers. I can relate to that. All right. And okay, do you have a second one for us?
Yes. It's about. This one is really a dialogue between. There is a real dialogue, and another one, an inside one, between me and it's like a little girl inside hiding under ronce. I don't know how to say it in English. You know, les ronces. No, that's it. Qu'en dire, c'est faire la paix. Ne rien dire. Faire comme si. Ça va? Oui, oui. Parfois, les mots sont 10 fois trop lourds à porter. Alors, comme une baleine, il n'y a plus moyen de remonter sur la terre ferme. J'ai cru pouvoir t'approcher sans mot dire. Je pensais qu'en disant rien, ça suffirait. J'aimais tellement être avec toi, contre toi, dans tes bras. Mais il y a toujours un mot qui s'échappe. Une bribe d'histoire, une petite goutte d'ombre dans un ciel bleu comme une graine d'éclipse, une paillette sombre. Plus moyen de faire comme si elle n'existait pas. T'as des visions, mon gars. C'est le délirium, arrête de boire. Niet. Un tout petit fil qui déchante, tendu entre un buisson de ronces et un radar à histoire. Je suis la petite cachée sous les ronces qui a tout vu, tout entendu et qui se tait en attendant la paix. La paix ne peut pas se faire sans toi. J'ai besoin de tes mots, j'ai besoin de ta voix pour en tisser la trame. J'entends murmurer les ombres. Je sens les fils de nuit de la tisseuse, la face sombre de la lune, pleine d'histoires innommables, indicibles, aux mots pris dans les ronces, à la trame barbelée à faire pleurer les rêves, à faire pleurer la peur dans les chaumières. J'entends crisser les lames sous la terre, j'entends la guerre. J'ai peur de dire, peur qu'elle jaillisse et ensanglante à nouveau la nuit, j'ai peur de la haine, peur de la vengeance aveugle, et qu'un nouveau cycle de violence recommence. Je veux que ça s'arrête. Je veux pas qu'on se serve de moi pour ça. Je veux pas qu'on me vole mes mots pour nourrir un peu plus la terreur. Je veux qu'elle se taise. Regarde le ciel, il est rouge de honte. Il plombe nos nuits d'un lourd manteau de silence poli. Ça n'est pas la paix, ça n'est pas le silence. Ça suinte de non-dits, de malentendus, de quiproquos. Les mots ne sont plus des mots, ils ne sont qu'apparence. J'ai besoin que tu m'aides, j'ai besoin que tu dises. J'ai besoin de sentir l'horreur pour pouvoir en guérir. Dis-moi ce que tes yeux ont vu, ce que tu as entendu. Dis-moi ce que tu as senti. J'aimerais te consoler, mais je ne peux pas tant que tu te tais. J'ai peur que tu aies mal. J'ai peur de voir mourir en toi l'innocence. Je veux pas voir ça, cette petite flamme d'un coup noyée dans les larmes. Ça fait trop mal. Je veux pas sentir ça. Ma tristesse n'éteindra pas la flamme, bien au contraire, je t'aime. Et aucune émotion ne peut éteindre ça. Dire, tu crois? Je peux. Je t'aiderai à trouver comment dire. Comment tisser ensemble une nouvelle trame d'histoire. Apprendre à faire la paix. I can't hear you.
My dog is underneath my arms right now, butting my hands when I go for the cursor, for the mouse here. Bertha listens underneath the screen. She's cool. Sometimes Bertha barks at the sound of somebody saying hello. It's a cheerful bark. Well, thank you, Caroline. Merci beaucoup. En anglais et en français ce soir. Et espagnol, bien sûr, claro. Okay, muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Bon nuit, everybody. I have to depart, but thank you. It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
And so have you.
Scary.
With these poems, and see you guys later.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Stay well. Stay well.
Thank you.
Have a good night, evening.
No, it's afternoon.
Good night
It's
to you.
afternoon where Carrie is.
Yes.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye for now. All right, so let's move on. Let's see. Jack, can we call you up, Jack?
Yes.
Okay, on to you, Jack Cooper.
Okay, I'm of several minds here. I'd like to read this short one, which is called Enfin Sauvage.
Wow. Go ahead.
It's not enfin, it's enfin. It's the desperate child in you I love, the child deprived of innocence, taken from her against its will. Woman being, to become, so difficult for men, for anyone grown up in this world, for me to understand.
Okay. All right. Okay. Short and deep.
Hmm.
Okay. How about a second one, Jack?
Okay, yeah. That's where I'm of multiple minds here. I have a short one called Penance, and another one that's a little bit longer called Love's Obstinance.
Hmm.
Any
Well,
thoughts? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. Huh?
Yeah, your call, Jack. Your call.
Ah, so hard. Okay, I'm gonna go for the short one. Penance. When I think of you, the sky opens. Its legs enfold my mind. Dreams interweave. You entered. My body granted wings. Soul flight. To me, you hold the finality of things. Promise of endless reward. For death must have your shape. So in love with life in you, I could forgive my own.
Yeah. Yeah, that was deep. Now, normally I go last, but your first poem, Jack, reminded me of something I wish to read tonight, and I'd like to sort of segue off your first poem now, if you'll grant me that. I was asked by, okay, I was asked by somebody to write something that they could give to their son because they felt that they were inadequate in language, but not in heartfelt sincerity. So I gave him this. Not long ago, Eric's boy was born. His name is Daniel. In 20 years, Eric says, I'm going to tell him the things that are happening. I'm going to tell him the things that are happening now. I'll talk to him about the friends who are dead and in prison, who for the comfort of self-censorship, the seeming comfort of indifference, the silence of willful ignorance and denial. I will tell him about how hard life was in all the countries spread about all the world. And I want him to look in my eyes and not believe me and tell me I am lying. The only proof will be that he, my son, Daniel, was here. But he won't remember anything about this. Back then, he was just a newborn. I want him not to be able to believe that this was possible. I can hear him say, Father, these acts are not in the books. These accounts are not documented in the films and the speeches and the networks. Your generation does not speak of this, but only of natural catastrophes and God's inexplicable will, as so many would say. I want him to say that this time never existed. Okay. Well, thank you both.
I wish.
Yeah. Now, and here's the last thing I want to read. I have been writing stories, and so I've done what I've been informed to do by the great writers. A good reader reads others' books, and I think everybody here knows the value in that. So here's a piece from Charles Bukowski, written about Jack Kerouac and his crowd. Notes of a Dirty Old Man. I met Kerouac's boy, Neil C., shortly before he went down to lay along the Mexican railroad tracks to die. His eyes were sticking out on ye old toothpicks, and he had his head in the speaker, jogging, bouncing, oogling. He was in a white t-shirt and seemed to be singing like a cuckoo bird along with the music, preceding the best, just a shade as if it were leading the parade. I sat down with my beer and watched him. I'd brought in a six-pack or two. Brian was handing out an assignment on some film to two young guys who were going to cover the shows that kept getting busted. Michael McClure's play, The Beard. Whatever happened to that show by the Frisco poet? I forget his name. Anyhow, nobody was noticing Neil C., and Neil C. didn't care, or he pretended not to, when the song stopped. The two young guys left, and Brian introduced me to the fab Neil C. Have a beer, I asked him. Neil plucked a bottle out, tossed it in the air, caught it, ripped the cap off, and emptied the half quart in two long swallows. Have another? Sure. I thought I was good on that beer. I'm the tough young jail kid, and I've read your stuff, Bukowski. I've read your stuff too, that bit about climbing out of the bathroom window and hiding in the bushes naked. That's good stuff. Oh yeah, he worked at that beer. He never sat down. He kept moving around the floor. He was a little punchy with the action, the eternal light, but there wasn't any hatred in him. You looked at him even though he didn't want to become Kerouac and had set him up for the sucker punch, and Neil had bit for it, kept biting. But you know, Neil was okay, and another way of looking at it, Jack had only written the book. He wasn't Neil's mother, just a destructor, deliberate and otherwise. Yeah, there's a taste of a, because I've returned to, yeah, there's a taste of that. I've returned to some of the what now legendary writers of the past decades, and I find their visions and their ups and downs a lot more fulfilling than what I'm reading in contemporary literature. Maybe I need to find some good contemporary literature, but at the moment, most of it is just self-absorbed nihilism with a whole lot of feeling sorry for myself. And that's, maybe I need to go on and find some better literature, but that's what I'm reading, and it's not doing a whole lot for me. So I went back to some of these other people who lament and at times feel sorry for themselves, but carry a much broader vision of themselves and their surroundings. So there we go. This whole postmodern is shit, you know, postmodern and post-structural stuff and all that. It's just like.
Try to read Margaret Atwood's poetry.
Yeah, right. So it's just like, what I'm trying to say without going off on a long tangent is I'll be glad when postmodernism gets put to bed. I was glad in 1990 when it first made headlines in some of the academic journals.
Mm.
I will be so glad. And by the way, postmodernism has had a great influence on the didacticism of the millennial generation and the PC crowd. You know, all opinions have been expressed. We know the right one. Yours doesn't count. Fuck you. If you're right and you don't know why you're right, you're only half right at best. So that's my contribution for the second round. How about you, Dane? To unmute.
Yeah. I gotta get it going on.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Hop. My perfect wonder amazes me with more questions. I pick them just like ripe peaches. I eat them juicy and raw, perfectly sweet. Juice drops, drips everywhere bloody. Summer sunburn, the empty, aching midnight at noon, opus on blackness filling the room. Sizzle of bare feet on sidewalk, beer bottle broken glass, asphalt. Lone Star or Schlitz, hopping to hop like a lion's bloody muzzle, a riot. Another dreary visit to the crime scene. Wonder about the edges of the whole of you. Do you slice your fingers on it still when you run your pinkies and thumbs along its edge to assure still there? Sharpest cutting, dull, beware. Or has it been long enough that the sharp edges roll over like a dull kitchen knife, resting head on chest, listening to heartbeat, listening to love for an embarrassing long, long time, as long as it takes to smell every smell of grass in afternoon summer dream of a nap.
Okay. All right. Can you follow that with a second?
Yes, sir, purr. I listened to the poem of the purr, your pregnant verse. Lollipops cost money. You remind me boats do too. I was thinking raft, canoe, something with a paddle. I need to hear you. I need to hear you now and every ever's ever. Words lapping on the side of simple floating watercraft on humid summer lake day. You sunshine me. Just a rock, boulder, pebble on imaginary Lake Berryessa. It's a sweet smash in the face. The telling of you becoming, I chase, I steal your line. Either it's ether or something divine. No, I steal all of them, tattoo them on my arm. The artist renders it in a black square. What is the mystery hidden within there? I bow to vision, I bow to verse, lay out under shade trees planted on your holy land. There is no appreciation for the tender moment unless you live through worse.
Okay. Yeah. Words to the wise. No appreciation for a tender moment unless you've lived through the worst. Yeah. Seems to be the human condition.
Yeah.
Those lucky enough to realize it.
It's a fine last line.
Okay, so I think we're ready for our last poet of the evening, and that would be Claire. Hello, Claire.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Great. The cat. The cat strolls about the pavement. In the luminous sound of dusk, it looks for a shelter where to meditate and look at passers-by nonchalantly. It seems to be disconnected to humanity with its wide hair and confident air. It strolls about the pavement and vanishes into its ideas, into the distant foam of the unreal.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That's about a cat that I saw today, which is so majestuous, so beautiful. And now I have a poem that is very similar to the first one I read to you tonight, which was about Miles Davis, and it's called The Good Life, but it's another version. We make love. We take hands everywhere we go, especially in the metro when we're about to leave each other. The Chinese food has been on the table for 4 days now. No one noticed it. We were too busy making love. And so what? Biting each other's arms and listening to Miles Davis again and again and again. He just shaved his beard because I asked him to, and he looks completely different, but I don't care because my baby just cares for me and I just care for him. With or without mustache, I can feel his soft lips better that way, caressing my cheeks. His perfume mixes with mine perfectly, like in a good duet. He plays the trumpet, I play the cello. Tu-du-dee-dam-dam, ta-dam, ta-dam. Drank all the champagne, ate all the food. The more we make love, the less we eat. Listening to Davis' favorite things. I'm a capricious child, will live the good life. He smokes a cigarette, resting his elbow on my back. We look at the night sky through the open window. A breeze. We look at each other as though there was no tomorrow. He's devouring me with words, with strokes, with kisses. We reach the highest note and it goes on, doesn't end, and I rest against his chest forever.
Very nice. Very nice. And we have something in common that's Chinese, as me and Amei, my Chinese companion. Yeah, we eat Chinese. I speak English and she translates into Chinese. And yes, we do make love. So, all right. Maybe one day I'll have it down as elegantly as you did and include my take on jazz all the while. Okay. Well, that wraps it up for us tonight in the second round. And I want to thank the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 or so of us who are online, and the total of us 14 who did participate tonight. I will recall to you that we will. This recording will be on a broadcast later in the week, and I will tag you because Facebook now is not allowing people to just like invite everybody. You've got to tag everybody now. I don't get it. So I'll do that. And I hope you listen. And I will be coming out with other jazz recordings on other poetry and music sites. I'm enjoying a period of having stuff published both in studio recordings of jazz poetry and spoken word. So, of course, I invite you to listen to that as I post it, as I like to listen to your stuff as well. So, I like everybody. Thank everybody. It's been a pleasure for me.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night and evening.
Okay.
Good night.
And maybe morning.
Right.
For someone, I don't know.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, that sounds like a wrap, and it is. So, wellness and good day, good night, good morrow.
Bye.
Bye.
And thanks, Moo and Moo.
Hey.
Yeah.